Eddie, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. Can you take us back to August 2008?
From the memories that I have of 2008, 21st of August was the day I had my motorbike accident. I don't remember clearly what happened, but it was told to me that I went round two cars on the way to Lakeside, came back in, and then lost control of the bike, ended up in a ditch, and then when I woke up I found out that I was paralysed just below the chest.
Can you just recall, do you know what road you were on? You said about towards Lakeside. Was it the A13 or was it?
No, it was I think it might be North Road. It's the big road that as you go down that big hill, so it's just before the golf course on the left.
Okay. And you're saying you woke up?
Yeah, at the time.
Was this Basildon Hospital?
Yeah, it's Basildon Hospital. I remember in the ambulance going around the bend to Basildon, but then I don't remember nothing much after that.
But do you remember the conversation, remember being told?
The
bad news?
I think the first time I remember anything like that was when I went to Queen's in Romford. What happened is when I went to Basildon, it was a case of they didn't have the metalwork, unfortunately, to do the surgery on my back, which helped fuse my spine, so therefore they moved me to Queen's in Romford. Once I'd had my operation, it was then given to me that I probably wouldn't walk again and that I am paralysed, and that was the beginning of the journey of trying to understand how my life's changed.
How I know this might sound like a stupid question, but how did you initially respond?
I want to be genuine, and I just shrugged it off as if it didn't matter, and I think it was the fact that I had my loved ones at the bedside at the time, and I think it was the fact that I was still alive, and it was just words to me at the time. It didn't really seem real, so maybe the shock hadn't have really worn off, and because I was so entertained by family and friends, it just basically helped me through that process.
But when you say motorbike, I can see there's pictures of motorbikes behind you and little toy motorbikes. Was it quite a big motorbike?
It was a CBR 600. It was a L-shaped model, so it was quite old, to be honest, for the year of the accident. It wasn't the best conditioned bike, but my passion with motorcycling is the fact that it had two wheels, it was safe enough to be on the road, and it started and stopped. So for me, as a smile, I think it was a passion. It was something that I enjoy doing.
So rehabilitation, 2008, 2009. What happened?
Well, the process really was at Romford. They had a sort of like a tilt table where they had me originally laying down. They strapped me to that, and then they used to stand me up to see how I'd respond if I'd get dizzy and stuff like that. That happened on a numerous amount of occasions, and I handled that pretty well. I didn't get dizzy, I didn't feel sick. It was then made the decision to move me from Romford up to Stanmore originally, but the bed come up at Stoke Mandeville first, so therefore they moved me there. And again, that was a total different journey. Again, it was where they rehabilitate you. They teach you to dress, they teach you to feed yourself, they basically teach you to become independent.
And about mentally, emotionally, how were you?
Again, at that, if I'm honest, if I go back to that time, I think then I feel that I was still sort of like dissociating, if I'm honest. It was a case of, it was all new. There was a lot of people around me. I was really sort of distracted, so therefore it wasn't allowing me to sit there and dwell on what had happened and what a big impact my life had took.
What family did you have at that time around you?
My mum, my dad and my two brothers.
And are they supportive?
Yeah, they're quite local to me. I'm not as close as I'd like to be with family sort of like dynamics and stuff like that, but they were there obviously when it really mattered, and for me that was really important.
So, as we move on, we've got this period of 10 years to.
Yeah.
So over this 10-year journey, as we say, what have been, what has kept on a really bottom level? What has kept you going? Or is it about kept you going? Is it just I'm living my life?
Do you know something? Just over 10 years I've been injured, and if I'm honest, I don't think I've ever been asked that, and I'm now searching my mind to think what keeps me going, and I think if I answer that honestly, I just feel that the fact that I nearly died, and obviously I was given a second opportunity to live, I think that was what pushed me to grow as such.
So going through the corridor in your house here, there's lots of medals and lots of numbers, running numbers, competition numbers. Which was the first one you did?
I can tell you without even going out, they all hold special memories for special reasons. The first one would have been 2015 back at Silverstone racetrack, where they done the half a marathon. You do 3 loops, one on the racetrack, one on the outer circle, and then one out on the outer circle, which is obviously not on the track, and that's a 13.1 distance, and that was the first half a marathon I ever took part in.
Okay, so that was almost 6 or 7 years since the accident. Yeah. Why did you take that? What got you into it by 2015? Why not sooner?
Do you know, I think it was just a circle of people that I bumped into at that time. I formed a relationship with a lovely lady in Southend, started making new acquaintances and stuff in Southend, and I then got introduced to Southend Park run by 2 people. That journey was basically 5Ks at leisurely racing speed, and that's where the marathons started to come up and come into my life.
So Silverstone?
Yeah.
Was it hard?
No. Do you know something? For the first ever thing that I done, I went in, obviously I trained and that to get myself distance, but do you know something? No, it wasn't, and that shocked me because I done it in my day chair, which is similar to the chair I'm in now,
right.
And it took me about 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay, so some might say you were doing it in a comfort zone.
Yeah.
When was the first one race you did when you think, right, I really went for it and it was tough?
I want to say it's the very next race after Silverstone, and that was the London Marathon, again 2015. And wow, and I can feel myself getting emotional when I speak about it now, but very emotional moment. Partner at the time was there, and it was obviously 13 mile plus 13 mile, which is a 26.2, and wow, that broke me.
And it broke you. How many wheelchair racers were competing? Was it maybe 20 or 30? Or?
There was 10 guys and girls in day chairs like this, but obviously you had the race chairs, which unfortunately I didn't have a race chair at the time. So
if you're sort of, with all due respect, an ordinary racer, wheelchair racer, how do you get in? Do you get special dispensation? How does that work?
It depends. You can go through different situations with charities, i.e. I went through 2015 doing things for the spinal charities. They are Aspire and Backup, so they can get you places, and then they just ask for some sort of donation contribution towards the cost of the marathon. So obviously he's setting up just giving pages for them guys.
Yeah. But you were pleased. What was the highlight of the London?
The highlight was the achievement of finishing it, getting the medal, and actually being able to take in the atmosphere, even though I was zoned out and so focused on finishing.
Now you talk about a day chair.
Yeah.
Do you have a racing chair?
I do now, yeah.
Yeah. When did you get a racing chair? Sorry, we don't need to have a day chair.
Yeah, no, I think it was about 15 months ago.
Okay, and how did that feel?
Amazing. Amazing.
Good. So we talked about distances like marathon, half marathon. Have you been on the track?
When you say that, sorry.
Have you been on have you competed on athletics track? Did you do 1500 or?
I did do, yeah, and I don't think it was a 1500 I'd done, but I'd done some stuff at Newham racetrack, and that was really just to help me get my classification to make me noticed by the BA Athletics Association. So I'm also affiliated with them now, so I can enter.
And when's going to be your next event?
My next, it's not a track one, but my next event is in October, and that's the Oxford Half Marathon. I've done it 4 times in a row now. So
again, forgive me ignorance, how do you get around? Do you drive or?
Yeah, I hand control car, which is provided through the mobility scheme, and yeah, that's a massive part of my life, a massive part of allowing me to be independent.
And so you're independent?
Yeah.
And that must like going to the shops and going just doing stuff. And forgive some of my questions are like, does he take sugar, as they say, but that's really important to you.
Yeah, massively. I think without being independent, without freedom, it can lead to things like depression, anxiety, isolation, and yeah, it's a massive part of my life and my being able to get out and achieve things.
And what else is we talked about the racing and taking part, but what else is over these 10 years? What else has been important in your life?
If I'm honest, a significant thing that happened for me just recently, we're now in September, but the 21st of August this year was my 10-year anniversary of my motorbike accident. I use my words wisely when I say I nearly died, because that is my belief there, and I felt no better way to celebrate my new life, being disabled, being in a chair, being paralysed, was to celebrate by doing a track day, which I wanted to do before my accident but never got around to doing, and I had done that on the 21st of August this year, and that was at Snetterton up near Norwich.
So a track, what do you mean by track day?
A track day is basically where you go on a motorbike around a proper racetrack.
Right. You got back on a motorbike?
Yeah.
How did that feel?
I think words can't really express, but if I was asked to define it, I'd say magic. Really was.
Do you still, because I've made reference to the bikes we see here, do you still love bikes?
Oh yeah. And I don't have to think about that. When I hear nice bikes down the road, when I go to sort of like Brands Hatch and that to watch motorbike days and that, I get quite emotional, but it's not an upset, it's a passionate, it's a love for a sport.
So now here we are, we've passed 10 years. Do you going to continue the racing? And you're still a young man. Yeah. I'd
like to think that. I do feel old sometimes. I've been out today. I've done a 5 mile push from here to Lakeside and back. 2 hours later, I went and done a half-mile swim, and yeah, I'm sitting here now and full of energy, if I'm honest, still. But I don't want to overdo it. So,
what's your advice to somebody who may be in there August 2008? I mean, do you have a support group in any way? Do you speak to other people? How
there are areas, again, because I'm spinal injury, there are forums for spinal injury, i.e. if you've got cancer, there's forums for cancer, and I think it's always nice to have outlooks to go to where you can get some information with regarding how to live your life the best to your ability. But I think the person who you can really focus and rely on is yourself, because at the end of the day it's wonderful having all these people around to support you, but first and foremost you need to be able to support yourself. You need to be able to have that fight in you to want to progress.
So do you need a lot of mental strength to be you?
If the question was directly to be me, I'd say yeah, because it's easy to give up. It's easy to, if you had everything and everything you had got took away because of your disability, then that can kill you, yes.
Going back to the racing, it's hard, isn't it? On a chair, on a racing chair, it's not easy. You just can't just turn up to the. You can if you like, but it can be tough, can't it?
It can, and I think this is where I laugh when you say that, because you just said, oh, you can't just turn up, and then you say you can, and I think this is my problem. And I used to generally, with me, this is what I do. I don't put in the massive training. I don't have big support plans with my races. I just rock up somewhere and say, what, 13.1 mile, yep, get in my chair and then go. So
it's just in conversation here. I was shambling around the St Clair Hospice 10K in April, and one of the wheelchair racers looked like they were struggling. And my wife, afterwards, when I got back, my wife said, "Why didn't you give them a hand?"
Okay.
I imagine if, it's almost like if I suddenly went and give you a hand, would you find, a bit like somebody saying to me, when you see me running, why didn't you just pick him up and help him? I would, no is the answer. I'll get round on my own for both of us.
Yeah, no, and do you know something? I think that's a very interesting one, because there's been a few times, and my response could probably be misread, because obviously when you struggle up certain hills, Brighton, London, Silverstone, stuff like that, people see you struggling, and it just shows their character of a person, how kind they are. They wouldn't want someone to be struggling, so they offer, and they sometimes just go to push you. And obviously for me it's been quite a stern, stubborn, don't push me sort of thing, but it's not in a malicious way. It's in a way of, I've got this, don't worry, I'm used to this sort of thing. But with that question, I think it's lovely, if I'm honest, I think it's in the heat of the moment, but if I ever bump into people, I apologise to them and say, look, I didn't mean to come across rude because you were being nice.
But you want to be treated as a competitor. We're on a level playing field, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, really, it can be an expensive business though as well, can't it? Trying to race.
Yeah. This is my shortfall, unfortunately. Financially, I've struggled. I don't sell myself well at the best of times. I do desperately want to find someone who would be willing to sponsor me if it was 6 months, a year, short term, long term. Because for me, it's not just about me, and it's not just about winning. It's not just about medals. It's about what that creates. Because say for instance now you said, oh, I know someone will sponsor you for a year, that takes a financial strain off me to allow me to enjoy other things in my life. And not just that, it can inspire other people. The amount of times people say, wow, you're an inspiration, and for me that's really rewarding. If I know I've touched someone's heart like that, that's priceless to hear that.
Because we said there's a regular wheelchair racers who meet in Harlow a couple of times a week, headed by Richard Chiazaro, the captain of the British team. And there's people from Southend, Watford, Welling, etc. But that's from cost, and it going to and fro from Harlow. But it doesn't cost the earth, but it still costs, doesn't it? Okay.
And I think that's where the restrictions can be, and I think what I class myself as is, as a jokey way, on my Garmin and that, when I record my times, I'm under the man with no name. And the reason behind that is because I wonder how many people like me are out there that are sort of like unsung heroes, financially restricted from really being able to show their full potential,
Right. Well, let's see if we can find a sponsor. But I think on behalf of many people, you're doing a fantastic job, and I think a lot of people respect you for what you do. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Could I just mention one more thing? Sorry, I should have mentioned it ages. Obviously, going back to my mountain bike track day, I'd like to say a heartfelt thank you to a charity which is called the Bike Experience, a very well-known person called Talon Piggin Skills, that allowed me the opportunity to fulfill that dream of getting on the bike. Having that very first phone call from him really made me emotional, and it's people like that in the world that can make a difference and that can change people's lives.